Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you've had a good week, and sun's been shining. That's always good, and that's definitely our topic for this week because there's been a lot of talk in the sober club. Or what do I do? You know, the sun's out. I always associate it with alcohol, so I thought no better person to have this conversation with than Susan from Hola Sober. So I've not spoken to Susan on the pod for ages, so I'm going to get a chance to hear us chatting away, shooting the breeze as we do usually about nothing in particular, but we have tried to stick to the topic today. So we'll get a chance to hear that chat in a little while. Just a quick mention, just in case there is anyone who has ditched the booze and is interested in training to be a sober coach. You know, I recognize that there's plenty of people listening to this and thinking, well, what the hell is she on about? I haven't even quit alcohol yet. But just in case you are someone who listens regularly, I really hope so, and you quit alcohol ages ago, I hope you'll carry on listening because it's, you know, all about well-being. Then maybe you have started to think about a new purpose, something different for your life, or maybe you just want to solidify, lay the foundations for your own sobriety. So check out the Sober Coach training that I offer because it's very comprehensive. It is fully holistic. It's absolutely everything to do with life coaching, but it's also the whole suite of, if you like, business skills, promotional stuff. You really do get the whole shebang. So if that's something you've been thinking about, then do check it out. We can just have a conversation to see if it's right for you. Just drop me a message. You know where to find me, at Janey Lee Grace, or you can always email me or go via thesoberclub.com and find me that way. There's lots of amazing testimonials from coaches who have trained with me and are now absolutely rocking their business and supporting other people. It feels really, it's just an absolute honor. It really is to be able to support other people and inspire them. And if you don't want to end up coaching, that's fine too. Maybe you just want some of these skills, this skill set, if you like, under your belt, and you want to do it with that really holistic kind of framework. So come on down if that's of interest to you. If, on the other hand, you are absolutely brand new to all of this, you think, I don't know what she's talking about. I guess the bottom line is always, I say this at the end of every podcast, but I'll say at the beginning for a change, always reach out if you're struggling. You know, maybe you do want to find a sober coach to work with. Perhaps you want to rock up to an in-person group, whatever it is for you. Do it, reach out, ask for help, because trying to do this on your own, it's really hard, not least because when it's just you and the voice in your head, that wine witch voice will always win out, because there's no accountability. There's no one to kind of hold you to what it is you said you were going to do. So always get connected, and the connection piece is it's absolutely massive. It really is. So do come and join us in the Sober Club, or find another tribe if you prefer, but do something that gets you connected, and always reach out and tell someone that you're doing this hard thing, but so worth it. And actually the reality is it doesn't have to be that hard if you do all the work, and you put the bits of prep in that are so important. And if you do it the holistic way, actually it can be a lot easier than perhaps you're fearful of. Often things are nowhere near as bad as we think they're going to be. We're going to talk about that with Susan, actually getting out, socializing, being in the sun. We get very afraid that it's all going to go wrong, but it rarely does. Usually people are quite impressed. Actually, that's the reality. They're quite impressed. Like, wow, my goodness, you did that. You quit alcohol. Seriously. So yeah, often it's easier than you think it's going to be. Just a quick heads up that I'm doing a spring retreat day. It's going to be early May. And it's going to be creating a vision board, ditching limiting beliefs, just soaking up the energy of what it feels like to step into spring with a whole new kind of version of you. So it doesn't matter if you're sober or not sober, but it would be lovely to if you were interested. It's I haven't got the exact date yet though, so it's not terribly helpful, is it? But if it is something you might be interested in, drop me a message. It's going to be in Hertfordshire. It's going to be a kind of afternoon session going into the evening, because we're also going to have a fire ceremony and release those limiting beliefs that we no longer need. I've done some more NLP stuff recently, and I just always remind myself how powerful neuro-linguistic programming can be with these tiny little tips and techniques that just help you to reframe those limiting beliefs. We've all got them, and we all still get them. We've all got that voice in our head that tells us, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, who are you to think you can do that? Oh, you've got no willpower. Oh, you look terrible. And on and on and on. And it's hard to completely quiet that voice, but what we can do is just notice it. I mean, you can notice it. It takes away any power that it might have had, and we're able to kind of recognize, well, you know what, I'm actually pretty proud of myself right now. And I hope you feel that way if you're making any kind of behavior change, because it's massive doing this. It's absolutely massive. So drop me a message if you might be interested in our spring Clarity Day. We're also going to be planning a family constellations. So there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up when I get my act together to sort out some dates. So just drop me a message at this point. Make sure you follow me on social media and enjoy. Well, I cannot believe how happy I am to see Susan. Hola Sober Susan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Janey, and it's really, really, really good to see you. And I mean that from the bottom of my soul. We have not been very good in 2025 in messaging each other,
I
but here we
know.
are
Here we
now.
are. Yeah. Well, people will be absolutely missing our little gassing sessions.
I think
So
that they must be having withdrawal symptoms. 2025, and it's actually April, and it's my first podcast with you.
oh my goodness, we'll have to change that. So, here's what I wanted to chat to you about, Susan. I know you are absolutely living the dream in a lovely country house and looking after yourself beautifully. But I constantly hear from women who are saying, "I'm going on holiday," or "I've finally seen a little bit of sunshine," or I'm going to stay with friends and they've got a lovely garden." And in the UK, maybe in Spain you've been a bit luckier, but in the UK, it's literally the first time we've seen a speck of sunshine in the
Yes.
last couple of weeks. And it's that goddamn trigger. And, people, someone posted just today, I'm 70 days sober. I'm feeling great. That's a long time. 70 days, is a long time. Feeling great, but I'm going on holiday. And I've got that voice saying, oh, sunshine and glamour. And I mean, oh my God, we've been there, haven't we? You and I, we've been there.
Ah,
It's all those
absolutely.
associations with bloody sunshine and
It
alcohol.
is. But you know what? Here's the deal. And I learned this the hard way that that patio and that sunshine holiday is a trap disguised as a treat. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is like this sort of, if you like, rock on the road that people in early sobriety, when it happens to them the first time, they're very overwhelmed by the way they used to spend their time in the sunshine.
Mm,
What I always say to women in early sobriety when the sunshine comes out, because I live in a country with practically permanent sunshine outside of the weather the last month, is that really, like everything else in life, you have to have a plan and you have to have a reframe and you have to keep the routine, but change what you put in your glass, to quote you.
exactly.
And I quote you all the time.
Yeah.
And we have to also accept that I have done wine, I've done regret, and now I'm doing joy. And I want to remember the terrace, the patio, the people I'm with, the joy that I want to experience rather than that regret that we
Mm,
actually had for so long after nights drunken on a terrace. We all know how it starts out. It starts out with, oh my God, we'll just have one. We'll
yeah. Yeah.
stay home. We'll
Yeah.
just have one, and a bottle and a half later, we're getting an Uber because we can't drive home the car.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
are coming in far later. We're now actually taking away from tomorrow. We're
Yeah.
waking up groggy, hungover, dehydrated, tired. For what?
Yeah. I absolutely. It's that fading effect bias, isn't it? Which is not in fact fab. The second the sun comes out, we go, oh. Wouldn't it be nice? I mean, I wasn't that bad, and I've done all this time without alcohol. So wouldn't it be nice now? I can just have one. Like, no, actually, it wouldn't be nice. It's just those associations are so strong. They're
They are.
so strong.
And you know what, Janie, I've said, and I asked myself the question, and I'm sure your answer would be the same as mine. I've asked other women, can we please break this down? What are you actually missing?
Yeah, exactly.
Missing. And
Yeah.
sometimes what we're missing is what we believed to be that sense of ease.
Yeah.
20 minutes of that sense of ease. But the truth is, there's a very high price to pay for what we perceived to be 20 minutes of ease because
Yeah.
we lost whole evenings, days, weeks, holidays, all of it. I have met women who've been on the most exotic of vacations and couldn't tell you a bloody
I
blind
know. I know.
about the island they were on because it all began to become this haze. And we actually think that you need alcohol when the sun comes out for us to have fun.
Mm,
Whereas you and I both know, because we've been on my sunshine filled terrace in the back of my home, you can have a lot of fun on a terrace where there is sunshine with no alcohol,
exactly.
nothing other than good friendship. But part of the problem in early sobriety is we're terrified because we've
Yeah.
never done it before. And we only have those associations of, well, last summer when the sun came out, this is what I did. So, what we're asking women in early sobriety to begin to imagine is we want you to embrace the fact that life is going to change and you need to commit to the change. The change can be small. You can still go to the terrace if you want to.
Mm,
What you put in your glass must change. If you don't believe you have the wherewithal to do that, don't go to the terrace.
yeah,
Home,
exactly. Exactly. It
have a
has
cup
to
of
be
coffee.
the most important thing, doesn't it? It's
Absolutely. If
so
you
true.
feel you can't say the no, I read something the other day. Worcestershire, as the English poet said, that no is sometimes like that trapped noise in the back of our throat that we're
Mm.
afraid to say.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I think for people pleasers who, they spend a lot of their time just wanting to do what they've always done because that's what other people expect. And I have had clients who've said to me, I don't even want to start drinking, but I'm going to visit my, parents or sister or whatever, and they'll expect me to,
That's
I
it.
mean, would they
Yeah.
like you to jump off a cliff as well?
Yeah. But
Because I won't be doing
everybody
that.
everybody says that. I'm going out with Mary tonight or Bridie or Jack. And listen, they're going to expect me to drink. I'm going to do the best I can. And I have repeatedly said to women, don't go.
Yeah,
So when the
exactly.
sun comes out, it's almost like this blanket memo seems to go out to everybody in the sober community that says, oh, the sun is out and you can't have fun. You can't have joy. You
Yeah,
can't fab conversations unless you're locked, twisted, and have 15 glasses of wine in you. Go
yeah,
home, get sick, wake up
yeah,
even sicker, and have to face into your day.
yeah,
And,
exactly.
and you know, there is also that hard truth. There is that hard truth that sometimes we don't want to say to somebody. The bottom line is this. If you believe that you cannot continue drinking the way you are drinking, therefore something must change.
Mm.
Therefore, if you are invited to the Sunshine Filled Terrace and you feel you can't say no, don't go.
Yeah,
Alternatively, what is really important is that if we quote you, the lovely Janey, when you say keep the routine, change what's in your
keep the
glass,
ritual.
keep
Yeah,
the
change
ritual,
ingredients.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
I have fallen in love with different mocktails
yeah,
over
exactly.
year or two,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, genuinely. So, one of the ones I'm really into at the minute, and I think with the sun coming out and we're coming up to those who celebrate Passover or indeed Easter, the one I'm in love with right now, and people can just basically put it in their back pocket and pull it out if they need it, is cucumber lime spritz. Even the frickin' name of it makes me feel refreshed. Do
yeah.
you
It's so
understand?
simple.
I actually just feel already, and it's sparkling water, sorry, excuse me, sparkling water, fresh lime juice, cucumber, and
Yeah,
some mint leaves
in a
in
nice
a glass
glass.
with ice.
Yeah,
Okay. And I now feel sophisticated and
yeah,
I now feel included.
Yeah,
And I don't
exactly.
feel vulnerable. And I also use it in early sobriety back in the day. It was almost like a buffer between me and the question that I
Mm. Yeah,
want.
because you're holding a lovely glass that could have had gin and tonic in if anyone does care. Yeah. No,
And
you're
I didn't want
absolutely
to
right.
answer. And it was kind of like held up almost,
Mm,
literally. In
mm.
other words, I dare you to ask me what's in my glass.
Yeah.
Nobody's
It's
ever
nobody's
going to
business, is
ask me.
it? Nobody's
That's
business.
it.
But
So it's
you're, you know,
a safety thing.
you are right about the plan. You really are, because I think something I've also heard said is when people say, "Oh, so I'm going off on holiday. I'm really nervous because this is my first sober holiday." I mean, the firsts are always hard, aren't they? My first sober holiday. And I know that, words to the effect of, I know that all the triggers will be there, the sunshine, the glamour, everyone else drinking, etc., etc. I'm just going to take it one day at a time and see what happens. Oh, right. Okay. Well, I think I can tell you what's going to happen, love.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
wine witch is going to speak very loudly to you. Perhaps day two, you might get past day one, you might, and then day two, that you're taking one day at a time. The wine witch will say, "Well, you've done really well. You may as well just have one," and then it'll all go downhill. So actually, this one day at a time thing, I know that phrase has a lot of connotations, means all kinds of things, but in
Yeah,
this instance, in my opinion, no.
yeah,
Plan ahead, make a
I believe
commitment,
so.
make it non-negotiable that you will not drink. Non-negotiable.
A-
End of.
Absolutely. I think it's like, what is it my dad used to say? Because my dad is a Boy Scout, fail to prepare, prepare to
Yeah,
fail. So,
exactly.
and he used to always tell us he was a Boy Scout. But the thing about it is that I always had plans in early sobriety because I
Yeah,
needed to. It was like an insurance policy, right?
yeah,
I felt that if I went out in a sunshine-filled terrace without a plan,
yeah,
without somebody in my phone to connect with
yeah,
instantly, WhatsApp, an SOS number from one of my community if I was absolutely about to break down. I've had calls with women in toilets and I'm
yeah,
saying, you're
yeah,
fine, well done, call an Uber, get out, you haven't
yeah,
drank, you're doing excellent. Because some people struggle more than others.
yeah,
But irrespective, sometimes people feel overwhelmed by societal expectations
yeah,
and they feel overwhelmed by saying no to Auntie Mary because, as you rightly said, they always drank with her. So, therefore, there's that expectation and they don't want to say no.
yeah,
So, a plan can involve connection, somebody in your phone, decide what you're going to drink. I was that woman that in early sobriety would actually go online to Madrid restaurants and bars where we were meant to go to dinner with friends, see what their menu was.
yeah, yeah,
Hot free. And I would actually tell my husband in advance, we need to be there a bit early. I want to have my drink got. I
yeah.
don't want to have a conversation. So I actually, what I did was I protected my sobriety in an
Exactly.
inch of its life
Exactly.
because
I know I've probably said this to you before as well, but another really great tip is to actually just, if you're in the early stages, you just hire yourself as if you're doing an acting role. So you literally kind of give yourself a role of, well, you know what? Tonight I'm going to be in the role of completely confident, super sassy, sober woman who by the way has booked her taxi home early and knows exactly what she's drinking and knows exactly how to answer all of the conversation. And then you just go in and you act this role because we can't deny it can be weird. To start with, it can be weird. You're different. It can be weird. You do feel very kind of raw and exposed and like, oh, bloody hell, what am I meant to do now? Because the old me would have been, the loud one. But then it's different. So you have to accept it's different. But you kind of play that little role for yourself. You get through the night and you give yourself an Oscar at the end and you wake up feeling proud and you don't have to do it too many times because
no, you
eventually you
don't.
settle in. Eventually you settle in.
You
It's the
do. And
first few times, isn't it?
it is the first few times. And the other thing that I did as well was I had to tell myself that by not drinking, I wasn't declining fun. Do you
No,
understand?
exactly.
I wasn't
Yeah.
saying no to fun. I wasn't saying no to being silly. I wasn't saying no to doing silly dances in the bar. I wasn't saying no to any of it. What I was actually doing unwittingly was I was redefining fun, right? And that's what we need to do as women. We need to, as alcohol-free women, as advocates for women who don't drink alcohol, you and I need to make sure they understand on day 5, day 7, day 12 that we are still fun and fabulous. The only thing we don't have is alcohol, which is poison
Yeah.
running through our bodies, right? Yes, we are not part of the alcocentric world. So therefore, when the sun comes out, you're going to feel like your skin is crawling. And yes, you're going to feel a little bit othered. But the bottom line is this: you have to trust. Sometimes in life, you have to trust the women that went before you, and you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
trust those who's treading this path, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So fun comes maybe on the second terrace, the third terrace. The first one is absolutely
It
nerve-wracking,
is. It is.
right?
Yeah.
It is like it's a go, and
Yeah.
then you do the Irish goodbye. In other
Yeah.
words, you don't say goodbye to second anybody, and you just leave in an
Yeah.
Uber.
Nobody will miss you anyway when they've had a few drinks.
That's the point, right? So you go around, you're seen, you've done the social niceties, right? And I did that. I did that. Remember my first St. Patrick's Day. And I remember I joyfully was putting literally women who were, shall we say, ma galore, as we'd say at home in Ireland, in good spirits into Ubers. And then I just sort of left, right? Because they were not in a position to put themselves into Ubers, whereas I was. But I went with a plan. It was ironclad. I knew what I was drinking. I knew who I could message. I knew who I could truly reach out if I was in difficulty. A friend of mine gave me another tip that she used. She recently went on holidays. It was her first sober holiday. She was completely really concerned and really
Mm.
nervous as well because it's a place to that they have a home. So they go
Yeah.
to every other year, right? Multiple times, and multiple times. But it was the first time she was going there without the Prosecco, as they say.
Yeah.
And so she did lots of things that were, I found fabulously interesting. First of all, she had a new Spotify sober playlist to listen to in her car and on vacation. It was a new one, totally
Mm.
different to
Mm.
the other vacation music she normally listened to. It was actually more dance orientated and more frivolity and more fun, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. The second thing that she did was, because she loves her music, was she bought a new perfume in duty free and she uses that perfume only when the sun comes out.
Okay. Yeah.
He has
Great.
now created something that
Created a new kind of anchor, as we call it in NLP. An anchor.
absolutely a
Yeah.
new anchor. And
Love that.
now it's funny, she was 3 weeks away. And then it was, did you have sunshine last week in the UK or something?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
she put it on and she said that she instantly thought of sunshine,
Yeah.
right? But she instantly knew it was sober sunshine. So
Yeah.
it was sunshine without the sangria, because obviously she'd always had sunshine and sangria in her life on their vacation home. And now it is sunshine without sangria. And it is actually more fun for her. And I loved the fact
Yeah.
that she curated a new playlist
Yeah. I love that.
as it's something different. So what she's doing is she's changing it up, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to understand that if we want to go to the Sunshine Filled Terrace and we want to say no to alcohol and choose joy, choose healthy living tomorrow morning at breakfast, we have to change things up. And
Totally.
if we can't change it up, then we don't go. But
Mm.
if we go, we can look at what we wear, the music we listen to on the way. We all have headphones in all the
Mm.
bloody time. We're
Mm.
always
Mm.
listening to music, most of us, or podcasts. And I loved that she did music and perfume. I'd never heard that before, Janey. And I thought, okay, well, that's hitting her senses,
Yeah. Totally.
neural
Yeah,
pathways
yeah,
in
yeah. Yeah,
it's
you're literally forging new neural pathways and bringing an association to go with it. It's a fantastic idea.
and they're really simple and everybody can do it. And what I truly love is she's now gone all the way in the sense that she has a perfume that she wears when it's raining. She has a perfume when was really cold, and she has her sunshine perfume. So in sobriety, she's really changing up lots of things in her life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it worked for her, just to let me tell you that she came home from the vacation house totally, totally happy, proud of herself. She bought herself an amazing treat in the airport on the way home. And I was really applauding her because she was so nervous, but she
Mm.
was like my dad in his day, a Boy Scout. She prepared. She didn't
Yeah,
go blind, right? She didn't get on an aircraft and just fly anywhere. She knew where she was going. She had a plan. She knew everything she had to do to maintain her healthiness. And an interesting thing she said to me was, she usually in the past, she tans quite easily, but she wears very high sun factor. But if you're hungover, you sometimes forget to apply sun factor. This is the first holiday in 15 years that she didn't get sunburnt. And that is because she was sober. She was
Mm, mm.
protecting her skin properly, right? She was wearing sun factors. She was not out in the sun all day. But we all know what happens. You have a glass of wine at lunchtime.
Yeah,
Forget
exactly.
it's 2 o'clock and you wake up on the sun lounger at 5 o'clock, right? So, for those in England and Ireland who are navigating April, navigating sunshine coming out, first of all, we're here to tell you it can be done. We're here to tell you that it is a fabulous thing when you've done it the first time, you feel like an epic queen. And the more times you face into sunshine and do it, the stronger that sober muscle becomes. And suddenly you begin to not even think about the
No,
fact.
I mean, actually, the reality is sober holidays are the best because
Yeah.
everyone else is asleep and you're up, and it's fantastic. You actually get the whole day rather than just, from about midday.
Absolutely.
You
And
can
you're
always
not
get
in
the
a
sun
queue.
lounger.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You get the sun lounger. You're not in the bloody queues. It is glorious, but you
It
know
is.
what? It is glorious, but people don't often believe that it's true. I
No.
I saw a fantastic thing last week from John Mayer, the American musician,
Hmm.
and he is sober. And I love his music, and I love that he's sober. I think he's powerful. And he did a post about the fact that he wishes that every Friday night and Saturday, so in other words, if every time there's sunshine, somebody came out and said what they were doing in sobriety on
Mm.
that night, and then at 8 o'clock or 6 a.m. the following morning, watching the sunrise,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
somebody was coming out on Instagram and a social media absolutely saturated world and telling the world how fabulous it was to be sober on Friday or in the
Mm,
sunshine
mm,
or at
mm.
6 a.m. on a Saturday, he said it would begin to change opinion. He said he is bombarded, like everybody else in the sober space, in sunshine, on holidays, at every time, by an alcocentric world.
Yeah, yeah.
So our perspective is very marginal. So we have to be louder and we have to support each other. And we have to, if you like, girlfriend up or girlfriend and boyfriend up.
Mm,
And
mm.
so almost link arms and kind of go, yeah, the sun has come out, but don't be scared. It's okay. I've
Exactly.
done it, and so can you.
Yeah.
And there is also something that springs to mind, the book that everybody was talking about by Mel
Oh
Robbins.
yeah, let them theory.
Yes, the let them theory.
Mm.
So we need to, as sober women, on day one, day 100, irrespective, be able to say, let them drink.
Yeah,
So let me live, right? So
exactly.
let them drink, pause.
Yeah,
So let me live.
yeah.
Because if I suffer from that fading bias that you
Mm,
talked
mm,
about, it could have a bad outcome for me.
mm,
And looks also innocent,
mm,
a glass of wine or a gin
mm,
and tonic or a glass of sangria. But, we give away our agency
mm,
when we are drunk. We give away our safety. We give away our security. We
mm.
give away so much of ourselves
Yeah, we do.
without even knowing, right? Without even knowing. Suddenly, we are dependent on strangers to make sure that we're okay,
Yeah,
ultimately,
yeah.
right? Whereas when you're sober and the sun is out, not only do I get to enjoy Spanish sunshine, and it was 21 here yesterday,
Lucky you.
um, in the day. But I was up early this morning and it was glorious. It was that fresh sort of early morning start to the day, knowing that it was going to be 19 or 20
Mm,
today.
mm.
And I wasn't groggy because
No,
that
exactly.
one glass, should I say, in the sunshine, Janey, is really me saying yes to a hangover, yes
Mm,
to feeling shit,
mm.
yes to saying something stupid, yes to having an argument, yes to pissing off my family,
The
probably.
reality is, it's self-harming. And when you can start to like yourself again, you realize you don't want to self-harm. And it is self-harm. Let's not sugarcoat it. It is. I know everyone does it. I know it's legal, but I don't make it right.
No,
It's
it is.
toxic.
It,
It's harmful. It's toxic. One glass is toxic. That's it. It has zero benefits. So
that's
why,
why,
if you care about yourself, why would you want to self-harm?
but
And when you
that's
think of it like that, you kind of go, do you know what? No, I don't want to do that anymore.
that's it.
I don't
I
want to do
can't
that anymore.
unknow.
I did it
I
for
don't
bloody
believe
years. I'm not going to do it anymore.
that's it. I don't believe women should ever unknow the knowing. So we
No,
have the knowing, right? We know. We know the science. We're not stupid women. We know the science. We didn't know the science. Therefore,
no,
I wasn't
no.
culpable while I was literally drinking a bottle every single
Mm,
night. I was there
mm.
for, I was not culpable because I didn't understand it was an addictive substance. And all I
Yeah,
actually had to do was remove it. So I was addicted to an addictive substance, remove it out of the equation, take care of myself, self-care.
yeah.
Sunshine comes out. I'm rocking it, with my cucumber lime sweat,
Spritz. Yeah.
right? And I think that we also have to celebrate that glass, you and I, and all sober advocates for sober women. We need to celebrate this. We need to, put our shoulders back, look the world directly in the eye and say, yeah, I used to drink. I,
Mm.
I was like the rest of the world around me, right? But let's call it what it is. It was
Yeah,
marketing. It was marketing. It
yeah,
was sales. It
exactly.
was bottom line figures. It was
Yeah.
profit. We were, and everybody else who continues to drink alcohol, we are, sort of victims of
Yeah,
capitalism in
yeah. We've
a
all
way.
been lied to. Yeah.
Yes. And so, therefore, by making the link between sunshine and alcohol, we're just continuing, perpetuating the lie that deep down in our soul we know is just
Yeah.
bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
bullshit, right? And so, in other words, to make ourselves bullshit proof, to use a phrase used by my friend Sophie last week, um, to make ourselves bullshit proof, we as women need to accept that we used to live this way and we were in the dark and we didn't know what the facts were.
Mm.
But now we know what the facts are. Therefore, to be bullshit proof, to take
Yeah.
ownership of our lives, to live healthily and happily and live a long, healthy life, we need to reframe this, right? We need to say, literally, I've done wine, I've done regret, and now I'm doing living.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing sunshine without sangria, right?
Totally.
Now I'm
Yeah.
doing it with spritz. And, I think that, yes, we both know it's bloody hard in an
Yeah.
alcohol-centric world.
It
But
is.
there's communities out there like the Sober Club, like Hola Sober, that can hold your hand where you will not feel alone, right? We're here for you, right? In
Yeah.
every way that people need us to be. And we're here as advocates because we're recovering out loud in many ways, so they don't have to. Okay,
Yeah.
they can be
Yeah.
anonymous as they bloody like. I hate that word, but they can be as quiet as they like about their sobriety. But what I'm saying is this: that sunshine and alcohol does not equal fun in my playbook.
No,
Okay, in
absolutely
my
not.
playbook.
I mean, it never did actually.
No, but you see, we're also
If we
afraid
had
to do
fun
that.
on our holidays, if we had fun in the past, it was despite the alcohol, never because of it. We might have had fun, we might have had a lovely holiday, but that was despite the alcohol, not
Yeah.
because of the alcohol.
But that's it. But that's it. That's why when people say, I miss that ease, that 20 minutes that you give
Mm.
up your life for, you say, oh, that's what I miss. That is not the alcohol that is giving you the ease. That is sitting down,
Yeah,
relaxed,
it's just
and being
exactly.
with
It's just the
friends.
associations of that dopamine
It
hit. But
is.
actually, the dopamine kicks in a few minutes before you have your first sip. That's the reality.
It is
So it's
because when
only
you
about reframing it and recognizing, okay,
it
let me find, you don't need as much of a high when everything is much more balanced. That's the reality, isn't it? That's
and
what
it
I've come to realize is that I can appreciate little things.
yes.
I'm no longer so bloody grabbing. Everything for me was always, oh, bigger, better, faster, more. Gimme, gimme.
Absolutely.
And
And
now
that's
I can appreciate,
powerful.
I'll just go and stand by a tree. That'll do it.
And you and me both. I'm hugging trees all the time, I
I
mean, I
know.
literally am. I
I know.
literally
It's
am.
fabulous.
But here's the point that when we find sobriety and when we find it to be the superpower that you and I have experienced in our lives, and here's the word, it elevates everything,
Yeah.
Janey.
Yeah,
elevates
it
everything.
does.
It's the greatest upgrade and the greatest lifestyle upgrade that we could ever begin to imagine even exists. And I think that from a perspective of how to live your best self and how to be your best self, alcohol cannot be part of the equation
Yeah,
on any level.
absolutely.
Not for your
Totally agree.
marriage, job, your friendship group, for nothing. So therefore,
Exactly.
yes, we were almost the ill-educated, and we were the marketed to, and we were the generation of women that made the mistake of falling for the claptrap.
Yeah,
But now we know that Sunshine and Terrace is not an invitation, it is a trap, and we need to see it as such. And therefore, game on. We're
yeah,
here. We have
yeah,
a plan. We've got our girlfriends in our pockets. We know what we're going to drink, and we are going to be responsible to ourselves. And
yeah,
that's part of the self-care journey that we women need to be on to nail sobriety to the cross, to
yeah,
nail it. It has to
totally.
be about self-care.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we could gas for hours, obviously, but that feels like a good place to end for now. But come back soon. Let's have another chat soon. And I need to come out and stay with you and hug some of your trees
You do need
in
to
the
come.
sunshine.
I'm extending an invitation for you to
Okay,
come
good. Well,
hug my.
only several million people have heard, so you won't be able to go back on it.
Yeah, exactly. I need you to come out and hug my walnut trees, my
Oh,
lemon tree, my
amazing.
lime tree, and my
Oh,
apple tree.
gorgeous. I
And here's
say.
the final thought I would like to give
Yeah,
women
please do.
maybe feeling vulnerable. So, we were born to laugh, literally. We were born to smile. We were born to be our best selves. We were born to be joyful and without
Yeah.
shame, right? And this is sobriety, and it is sacred because it saves us from that shame cycle.
Yeah, shame
Earth led
is
us
such a
to
big one.
us.
I had such a lot of that in the
Yes,
beginning. It's the
yes,
lowest vibration. It's horrible. That
yes.
horrible, horrible feeling of shame. And when you no longer feel that shame, that's not because you've never done anything wrong in the past, because you
No,
probably have. It's not
yes,
because you've never upset anyone or there isn't anything
yes,
to be forgiven. There probably is. But the
yes.
difference is you can actually come back to knowing that you're authentic. You can be authentic even though you might be flawed. And when you can let go of that, you're absolutely right. It's massive, so underrated that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that if we think sunshine leads to shame,
Yeah,
if we drink,
exactly that.
okay,
Yeah, nobody
there's
wants to
the
go there.
trajectory. There's the
Yeah.
trajectory. So as always, it's been a charm. Love speaking to you. I could speak to you all day and all night,
Oh,
I
thank
say.
you, sweetheart.
And
It's
I
been
look
great to
forward to
chat to you.
seeing you soon. And the
Yeah,
invitation to
yeah,
Madrid is
absolutely. Let's
open
do
and
another
there.
one as well. Thank you,
Okay. Take
Susan. And
care.
I'll leave all the links and all of that stuff. Thank you, sweetie. The fabulous Susan from Hola Sober. I'll be writing a piece in the next Hola Sober magazine as well. And I'm sure Susan and I will be chatting again sooner rather than later. It's always great when we get together. I just absolutely love everything she does. So just a reminder then, if you're interested in that Spring into Clarity Day, I haven't set a date yet, which is hugely unhelpful, but it will be in Hertfordshire, will be early May. So if that's something you might be interested in, drop me a message. Family constellations too. And just in case you are interested in sober coach training, our next training course, we've got one at the end of May, that's completely end of April, completely full. And then we have another in October that kicks off in October. We start with a couple of in-person days. So if that's something you're interested in, drop me a message. If you're doing this, if you're quitting alcohol, if you're early stages, this is the best thing you will ever do for your health and well-being. Go after it, protect your sobriety at all costs. Just, recognize that there is nothing at all to lose, nothing at all. I never let anyone say giving up. You're not giving up. There is nothing to give up, only gain. See you same time next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.